Game 65. You feeling it? Sabres and Sharks. I was just thinking it's very much in the same vein as how I was talking and feeling yesterday, and really for a couple of weeks, if not longer. What this game would have meant to me last year or any of the most of the last 10 years. Like, the Sharks?
Yeah.
So they're still a thing? The Sabres, okay. What does Tankathon say about our odds?
I don't remember the time of the year they were in last year, but I do remember you asking me, so what, you watch a game every night. Have you seen Celebrini? What do you think? So how's that going so far? He was the first overall pick, last year was his rookie year. And I remember being sort of careful about, I hadn't really watched them a lot. I wasn't really dug in on here's how I feel about Celebrini. And I sort of said, I think it's going okay. I don't think it's going great, but I think it's going well enough. He's not taking the league or the team by storm or anything, but I think he looks like the potential to be like a franchise player is there kind of thing. And then they played that night, and he was great.
They played last year at this time?
I don't remember the time of the year.
Okay.
I just remember it was during last season at some point. It kind of blends in. But
the home game?
Yeah, the home game. The game here.
Okay.
And he was the best player on the ice. He just looked so great, and I remember thinking, I really undersold this. I should have leaned harder into, but I honestly didn't really know, and I didn't want to say I don't know. I'm always over here bragging about all the hockey I'm watching, so I wanted to give you a take on one of the hot new guys in the league.
But you also don't stay up late.
That's right. So I hadn't really seen him a lot. He was so great in that. I think they lost. I think the Sabres won the game.
Wow.
But Celebrini was just tremendous in the game, and. This year, there's people, we're talking to Greg Wyshynski in an hour. He's on the list of MVP. He's not going to win the MVP, but
why not?
He's going to get votes because there's other guys that have like 110 points already.
Or just going by the stats?
Or close to it. McKinnon.
McDavid has 108.
Yeah.
Celebrini has 89.
Yeah. He was
great at the Olympics.
I mentioned this last week briefly. The Sabres played last Tuesday, right? They won a game last Tuesday. I don't remember who it was against.
Jersey?
Yes, thank you.
First game back?
And no, that was the week before on Wednesday. Last week
Vegas.
Vegas was Tuesday. First home game back. And afterward, still buzzing a little bit. I'm going to watch Montreal, San Jose, and just a work of art. 7-5, great game.
I've never seen a better game than that.
Right? They are a super fun team. It's not Celebrini's only one of a handful of second or fourth overall picks. That Michael Misa from last year, Will Smith is another guy that was a second overall. Like they've got a lot of
too soon,
a lot of juicy young guys there. I don't know what they're doing on D yet. They don't seem to have a Dahlin or a Power. Like I don't think they, to my knowledge, have a high pick blue liner yet, but they're building a nice little offensive team there.
Spotlight on the opponent brought to you by Tullamore Dew.
Get it out of the way now.
Sabres are minus 200 tonight.
Things are different when I'm running deep on the Sharks.
I didn't even ask about the Sharks.
I know, and I'm just going. I'm sorry. It's not even really called for. It's probably not that interesting. But anyway, 5 minutes on the Sharks for you, everyone. That's all I got. I'm tapped out.
Sabres minus 200 in this game. Are we still betting?
Occasionally.
Is it?
I'm not betting anything. I'm not betting anything minus 200.
I feel like I can't ask Sam or Joe. No, right. That's you got to keep your dignity. You're betting dignity.
I will go to my betting grave with I would rather lose $10 than win 12. That's how I gamble.
You'd rather lose $10 with a chance to win 15.
Right.
Than win 12 when, you're betting 20 or whatever it is. I don't know. I can't really ask Sam or Joe. These hockey, or of course Trista back in the day, like
TK Pucks.
TK Pucks is still in hibernation, I'm pretty sure. Like what minus 200 is from a Sabre standpoint right now. Like how dramatically has the market reacted to their winning? I don't know. Maybe that's a pretty significant. I always think the books know, but with the Sabres, like our Jack Adams trophy, Jack Adams Award
Mm-hmm.
bet with Lindy Ruff. We got Lindy at 7-1 at the time, right?
Right.
And now he's the favorite. Sometimes you get there first in these things. Sometimes you get there before the books do. And I'm not, telling you that I'm sort of like, I was wise to the Sabres, but I like them. So that was really more what that was just sort of, this will be fun. Maybe he'll win. It made sense, but it's also like, we're rooting for this.
Yeah, and they had already. I think we did this after the 10-game win streak. I don't think it predated that.
No,
right?
I have the date.
Right, they were going. It was like, the bet was, do you think they'll keep going? Yeah, they could keep going. Yeah, they look good. So let's take a flyer on it.
The bet was, as I remember it, and I would say, is like, so it's a team that's been out of the playoffs forever. Those coaches have an advantage. They're not expected to be good.
Right.
And this was January 21st-ish, so 6 weeks ago or maybe a little longer. And they had a chance. And when we talked about it with Sam, because Sam helped us with this bet, we live in a state where you're not allowed to bet on awards.
Right.
But I remember talking about it, and he and I talked about this again on Friday, that they're going to play Tampa Bay 4 times. And they might have to win that series or win the division for Ruff to win, but I think all else equal, he would win. He would win on ties because the Sabres have been down for so long. And then I started to hear whatever ESPN game it was, the Penguins game. The Sabres were in Pittsburgh, and they were talking the whole game about like, wow, this is incredible. But also like there's a feeling that John Cooper, who has never won that award, is kind of due to win. Like, oh, I don't need to hear that.
Yeah, there's like a career achievement award vibe to Cooper this year. And that is still, I didn't go over the column finely enough to know, but Greg Wyshynski, again, we're going to talk to it in the 4 o'clock hour, ESPN.com, has a long piece that posted maybe last night. I saw it and I retweeted saying Greg's going to come on with us. And it's handicapping the award stuff. And I think he's polling voters, maybe, or maybe it's just front office people. I'm not sure, but like Cooper is still ahead in Wyshynski's model. But like 58 points to 50. How are the first place voting give you this many points, whatever kind of thing. So I'm interested to hear Greg on that.
Well, how do you vote for Cooper if they don't beat out the Sabres?
I
Maybe they will, but if they don't,
I don't think.
What's the argument?
I decided back in December I was going to do this is the argument, which is nonsense.
We make a bet, and then finally, this is the year where like the standings don't matter.
Right.
That's not fair.
We're a coach that took a team from very last place in the conference all the way to the top in the span of a few months doesn't get the award. Like you just said it. I mean, those awards we've talked about it for years. Those awards are made for Lindy Ruff. Like a coach having the year Lindy Ruff and the Sabres are having.
Speak it into existence. I mean, yes. Not only, you could have been saying either, not only were the Sabres, down last year and have been for so many years, but this year went along for almost 2 months and they were the same. I mean, right? They were
last place in the East.
Last place in the East.
Yeah.
2 months into the season. How is that not a great coaching achievement?
Almost has to be.
Sabres minus 200 against the Sharks, pregame at 6.
Minus 200.
Minus 200 against a team that's 1 point out.
Yeah, listen, I don't want to the way that I am, I bet on the Sharks a lot when I put in 4 or 5 leg parlays because they are often they're often an underdog. And so you don't even need to give up, 1.5 or you get them on plus money usually. And they are a certain kind of good. Like they can surprise you if you're not buttoned up. And I would say the same thing tonight. Like what are they on the money line? Do you have it or did you?
Well, if it's minus 200, it'd be something like plus 160, right?
Yeah, that's like I'm all over that. Nothing against the Sabres.
Wow,
like
look out!
I'm putting a parlay together. I'm throwing in on a good young team that's in a race still, on a team that's riding a 7-game heater on the heels of the game of the year in the NHL. I mean,
listen to this.
There was a lot poured in there. So I'm just saying,
Bulldogs on the Sharks.
Objectively, Sharks are good value tonight.
Interesting. You say that. I think that's subjective, but all right, sure. I get the logic. Alex Lyon probably tonight. That's one of the more interesting facets of this down the stretch run here and then into the playoffs for the Sabres. I would guess, and believe me, I don't have to convince you. Like, I'm not talking to anybody about this. If it's even been decided, it's probably been talked about in there. But I would guess as long as this is happening, they'll just keep alternating. 7 goals, whatever. Like you won.
Yeah.
I would think they would just the games are spaced out Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. Then they go out west next week. It's Tuesday, maybe in Vegas next week. So I would think that they would keep doing that. Eventually, though,
they're going to have to make a choice.
Probably.
Yeah,
they're not going to alternate in the playoffs.
The only way they would alternate in the playoffs is if they choose a guy. Obviously, someone's going to start game 1, and you drop game 1. Then you could pivot to the other guy, and it's the system, right? Assuming you haven't had a big conversation with either of the like, you could go to the guy, both of them, and say like, look, Alex, you're our guy, you know, and then to walk. But they probably won't do that. I think they'll. If I'm Ruff, I leave it open-ended enough that you're starting game 1, and if they lose it, then there's maybe a chance to pivot to the other guy. But if you win that game, then the other guy doesn't come out, I think.
Well, who starts game 1? Is it Eenie Meenie? Do they just go all the way to the game 82, and then whoever plays game 82 sits in game 1?
That's a good question. I doubt that they will do it that way. I'm sure they already have some idea of a preference. I have no idea what it is. You know, I really, really don't. I think these you know, how many games are we talking about left here? Less than 18 games. I mean, for the goalies, I would bet every one of them is going to matter. I know fans will not soon forget 7 goals on Sunday night, so I think we'll be hearing about that. You know, certainly especially if Luukkonen has turbulence in his next outing or two.
What did you think of his game? I thought that some of those in the middle of the game were like, what is he supposed to do?
Yeah.
They were just lost, I thought.
I think there was some sloppiness, rebounds, but a lot of it was just it was one of those games where there's a lot of clean looks. And, you know, I didn't feel like looking at the goals, I had big problems with his positioning or anything. It just was one of those nights, which, again, I think is why Ruff, you know, how much did Luukkonen trying to get into the fight with Hagel play into Ruff's thinking? But I think Ruff, to leave him in. Like he's in the fight, right? Paul made a point yesterday with us how, you know, connecting that, you know, might have been a reasonable thing to do. That maybe Ruff felt like he's in it with everyone. I'm not going to pull him out now.
Well, he did say something like that after the game,
right.
Just like he's in it with everybody.
Yeah.
So I'm sure everybody liked that.
Yeah, but you know, if he had been objectively bad on a few of those goals, maybe he would have gotten pulled. I think it's possible to give up that many goals and not necessarily have a bad, like a pull-worthy night.
I'm really glad it didn't happen because it felt like, I guess I can't say I was thinking about it at the time when it went to 6-4, but as late as it was in the game, is that the third period by now? It's 6-4. Yep. You don't see a goalie pulled so often in the third.
Right.
But it seems like it could have been possible. 5 goals in a row given up.
Right.
And, you know, why do coaches take the goalie out when they do? They do it to change the mood of the game. And, you know, it's just usually in the first. We're down 3-0 in 8 minutes. So it's just, we got to do this. This is what coaches are sort of taught to do and almost always will do. But in the third period, it's a little different. I'm glad it didn't happen. Remember when Ruff took Miller out of Game 7 in Philadelphia? Remember that?
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah.
Like, Lindy doesn't seem that special when it comes to this stuff, but he left him in. And it was still, you know, it was still game on. I'm glad he did.
Yeah, me too.
I feel like most of the time, not most, but a lot of the time, goalies get pulled, and really it's just sort of lame because you built your schedule around a goalie playing a certain night, and then you give up a couple of bad ones, or just even if they're not bad, and we got to take them out because this is what we're supposed to do. I don't think you really need to do that as often as coaches do it.
Yep. I wonder if internally they have an outcome they're rooting for. Like the management, scouts. I mean, Luukkonen is the younger guy. Luukkonen is the guy with the contract. It's not a terribly burdensome contract, but there is a commitment there. And Lyon is more your journeyman backup guy. And if he's the better guy and that's who they choose, so be it. But I would be surprised if internally they're not hoping Luukkonen hangs a number on the board here in these last, if he gets 9 of these games. I'll bet they're really, because I just feel like he's the guy that, to me, that I think he could get to a level where he could steal a game or two. And Lyon and he are both having the same year, basically. Like, their goals saved above expected are both excellent. They both have been very, very good. I just feel like Luukkonen's got just a little more athletically, size, whatever it is, pedigree, second-round pick, Finnish national team. I just feel like they would like to be able to lean on him. But that's not to say that it's leaning one way or the other. They both have been excellent, and Lyon does not have, whatever you want to say about the quality of the saves and the goals and the whatever, Lyon does not have a numbers-killing performance on his record here recently at all, and Luukkonen just gave up 7 on whatever shots. Like, his numbers are in the tank for the year, I assume. I've not even looked.
Lyon almost never loses.
Right. So I think right now, if they were choosing, if tonight was game 1, I mean, the game from Sunday night sort of slants it a little bit, obviously, but I think if game 1 were tonight, they would pick Lyon.
Interesting.
But I'll bet internally they would like to see Luukkonen elevate.
I think I'm going to want to advocate that they keep rotating.
Even in the playoffs?
Yes.
It's just not how it's done.
I know. That's what I hate about sports, where you have to do it because there's one way to do it. Like, listen to the argument. I got here rotating goalies. They haven't really separated themselves too dramatically from each other. There should be, logically, the same benefit to spacing out the work that there is in the regular season. Why do teams sit their number one starter 25 times a season? Because they've seen the data. They've seen the light. They know that it's better this way, usually. The odds are good this way. So why should the playoffs, where it's that much more intense, and the possibility for long overtime games, which you don't have in the regular season as well, why shouldn't the logic be the same? Where I would keep, both guys going. This is the routine that they're used to. This is how we've made it this far. Why should we change it? I think I'm going to want to be there. Unless something happens in the next month, which would be what?
One of them,
somebody falls apart?
Right.
I mean, on this team, is somebody just going to really fall apart? I mean, Marty Baron, Miller and Baron, again, it's 20 years ago, so apologies, but it's like the last Sabres team that was really good. The next year, I mean, Baron is gone.
Right.
But still, I would say looking back, you could have done more of that. I wonder what Marty would say. Yeah, I wanted to play. Hi, I agree. I don't know what he would say, but I remember as we went along with Ryan Miller, thinking more and more often, he's really not that much better statistically than Marty is. So why does he have to play every night? Now we're getting into it, and everybody's exhausted, and everybody is playing hurt. I don't know. I'm getting a little carried away, but I think I'm going to probably, if the playoffs were to start right now, I'd want 2 goalies for my first 2 games.
Yeah,
I think.
Well, I'm not here to tell you for sure they won't do it. It would be almost shocking to me if they did, because it's just not done. But that doesn't mean you can't. Right? It doesn't mean you can't do it. Right? I mean, even this year, I kept expecting there to be a time. Anytime there was a little break. They're gonna get Luukkonen. They're gonna try to establish Luukkonen. He's gonna play two of 3 kind of thing, and it never really happened. There was one time he got a start on the heels of the previous start, and I don't remember if he won or lost, but that was the end of that. Like, they did not do that again. I don't think either guy has played 2 games in a row since that.
That's when?
And it was
January?
It's a long time ago now. Yeah. So, you're saying unless something happens here, I mean, that's where Luukkonen, I think, needs to reestablish himself on Thursday night, assuming he gets Thursday night. Like, just don't let the 7 from the other night become a thing where, the next game out you give up 4, and because then it could start to unravel on him.
Well, is there a game tonight where Lyon would get Thursday?
Boy, I don't think so.
I don't either.
I think he could shut this team out on 31 shots, and they would still go to Luukkonen on
If
Thursday.
they lose, they don't go back
Right.
to him, and they'd have to win in some sort of like Hasek-like game or something. And why change anything?
Right.
You know, like that's 8 in a row.
Yeah. Yeah, and even if if it were like some game where he just stole it, you'd be like, all right, well, he worked hard on Tuesday. We're not playing him Thursday.
I know.
There's just no. Yeah, I don't see that changing between now and the end of the regular season. I would guess that it will in the playoffs, but again, I don't have to be right about that.
Sabres -200 versus San Jose 705. Tampa Bay home to Columbus tonight, also a 7:00. -240, by the way.
Oof.
Tampa.
Wow.
Against Columbus, which is pretty good.
Double up on the Blue Jackets and the Sharks, people. That's your advice for tonight.
What? Are those even teams? My crossword puzzles. NHL, Columbus. Oh, poor Columbus. Like yesterday I took shots, and here I am again. They're like a point out or whatever. They're close.
Right, they are. Yeah.
They're close. They're not terrible. Yarmo's going to come after me. Like, listen, stop it on Columbus. My mom's from Xenia. I'm going to play that card now. That it's actually, I'm allowed to pick on them because it's home.
Oh, I see. Yeah. You've got cred. You've got street cred.
I've got Ohio street cred. That's a team name. Sal Capaccio coming up. We'll talk about the Dawson Knox restructuring.